Wait, where did I put that? Oh, my desk is a mess again. Oh yeah, here it is. Hi everybody, thanks for joining me again. Today I'm filming a quick update about how I like my iPhone XR after I've used it for a few weeks now, and let's get started. Now, as you may know, and I'm repeating myself here, I did initially buy an iPhone X last year, which I had to return because the iPhone's OLED screen was causing me headaches and discomfort in my eye area. It's caused by the flickering of the OLED screen. Apple chose to adapt a flicker rate of 240 hertz, which is too low. The human brain can see it. The eyes can't see it, but the human brain can perceive it. It's just fluorescent light flickering. It's the same idea. And after a day or so using the iPhone X, I knew it wasn't for me. So luckily, the iPhone XR came out this year, which uses a similar screen that goes all the way to the edge, but it doesn't have OLED. It has an LCD screen. Apple did a fantastic job, I have to say, with this phone. So, very quickly, I'm just throwing pros and cons at you as they come. Pro, the screen is edge to edge. As you see, it goes from top to bottom. There's no more black bars on top on the bottom. It's fabulous. I love it. Con, the bezel is larger than on the iPhone X or XS or XS Max. It's a fairly big, prominent bezel. Pro, the iPhone XR is an LCD screen, not an OLED screen. Con, the iPhone XR has a much lower PPI, pixel per inch, number than the iPhone X or iPhone XS. Pro, because the iPhone XR has a much lower pixel density than the iPhone XS, it uses less battery. Pro, the iPhone XR has a big battery. Con, the iPhone XR is really thick and really heavy. Pro, the iPhone XR is a little bit lighter than the iPhone XS because it uses glass and aluminum instead of stainless steel for the structure. Con, the iPhone XS is slippery as heck. I'm not kidding you. It is so slippery. It's the most slippery phone I have ever used. And because it's heavy, it really is sliding. You have to grip it like this. If you grip it like I'm not kidding you. It feels great, but it's sliding around like crazy. So I got myself a clear case. It's already dingy looking. Oh my goodness. I wanted the Apple case because if I spent that much for a phone, then I want to get the proper case. But luckily, a company called Totalee, and it's Totallee, they make a clear case. It's like flexible, right? It's not one of those hard shell cases that looks great on the phone. You can barely see it's there. It's the thinnest one I found. There's cheaper ones out there that are a lot thicker, and it increases the friction very much on the sides. It's not slippery anymore. It has a the tiniest little lip on the front. So when you put it down on the rubber, on the TPU. It also protects the back. It's just nicer to put it down. It's just, the whole thing is safer, and it's a little bit protected on the edges So I can recommend this one from Totally. I will put a link in the description below. It's not affiliated. Buy it, don't buy it, I don't care. I really, really like it because it adds barely any thickness to the phone. You can still see the color really great. The camera cutouts are smallish. They're not as large as most of them. The comparisons here, big cutout for the phone versus this one here. Let's just take it off so you see. Small cutout, big cutout. In all, this one is the better case. Costs 3 times as much as this one. Yeah, I figure you already sold your firstborn to get an iPhone. You can as well sell your daughter as well to get this case. $35 Canadian. I think it's 29 US. Okay, let's continue. Pro. The phone is a full screen. It has barely any edges on the sides. Con. Certain apps don't work with it yet. You could think that after a year of iPhone S, you could think that after a year of iPhone 10, they would finally get in order to get the apps all adapted to this full screen, but no. Whatever, it's fine. Pro, this is the best sounding phone I've ever had. I don't know if the iPhone XS or XS Max have better sound than this one, but literally, this is blowing all the other phones out of the water that I had, like the 8, the 7, the 6. This phone has a fantastic sound. Speed-wise, the phone is fast. We know it's the same process as on the other phones, in the high-priced phones. Face ID. There we come to another pro and con. It has Face ID. Pro. It has Face ID. Con. Depending on how you look at it. You wear gloves in winter, thumbprint, that was always an issue. Not an issue anymore. Swipe up with any kind of gloves that have silver threads in them, or any kind of other touch screen gloves, and you can just unlock the phone and play with your phone like that. No more pulling out the glove to put the fingerprint. No, you don't have to do that. Wet hands when you're cooking, put the phone, it doesn't work. No more, none of that. That's a pro in my book. Like, the Face ID is a pro, but it can also be a con because people don't like having rays shooting at their face. There is a phone from Samsung, I believe, that had the the iris scanner. That's a different ball game. That was literally burning your eyes. People didn't like it. People felt uncomfortable with it. This is different. These are very low light emitting infrared that you don't even see. But it does pulsate. It does flicker. So if that goes on all day long, it could also create headaches for you if you're sensitive to that. So keep that in mind. A quick flicker here and there to unlock the phone, that's fine. But a constant flicker, booming you with these rays, I don't know if that's good or bad. So it lets you turn it off. So I have it checked for the Face ID is checked. Phone unlock, iTunes and Appster, Apple Pay, password autofill, and other apps. They all get the check mark. But the two on the bottom that require attention for Face ID and attention everywhere features, I have that checked off. Don't need it. Don't want it. It's fine. If you are somewhere and you have concerns and you have like naked pictures on your phone and you don't want anybody ever to be able to break into your phone, then by all means turn the attention aware on, or required to look at the phone, whatever, fine. But for the normal user, you can check these off and it's fine. What's next? No 3D touch. Like the old phone, if you had an app, like, I don't know, iTunes, you would hold down and options come open, a next song. This doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't have that. What it does have is, what is it called? Haptic touch. That's what it's called. So let's say you're on your home screen here and you want to turn on your flashlight. You hold this down and the flashlight's now on. And you hold it down, and it's almost like the phone clicks. There's a response to it. So that's a pro because it's able to do that. And I'm sure Apple is going to spin this further. There's going to be more apps that are going to be enabled with this feature. So there's something coming down the pipe. I'm sure they're going to be able to do that. Pros and cons, pros and cons. This phone only has 326 ppi. Do I notice it? No. There was a big hoopla on the internet about the fact that this phone has a lower resolution as the 8 Plus. I don't notice it. I did use the iPhone 10 for a couple of weeks, and that had a murder screen. Absolutely phenomenal. Fantastic, fantastic screen. But again, I can't use it because it hurts me. So is there any kind of a compromise here? Because this is not as sharp, or this has not as... Frankly, no, because I did not notice it to be a grainier. I can't discern individual pixels. I don't see anything bad with this LCD screen. It is as beautiful as all the LCD screens that Apple has ever produced, except for the ones before Retina screens were invented. There's nothing that I have to complain about in this screen. Like literally nothing. So that's definitely a pro for me. It's a screen that doesn't flicker, and it's a screen that is sharp and clear and bright. The colors are fantastic. I love the fact that you have the True Tone, that depending on what environment you're in, it's warmer or cooler. Oh yeah, you don't know what True Tone is? Okay. True Tone is something that you can turn on in settings. So if you're in a candlelit room where the light is warm and yellow, your phone screen will see that and also turn itself warm and yellow, so that you don't have this white blue screen in this candlelit room, and it's easier on the eyes. When you're in a room with fluorescent light, or if you're outside in the bright sunlight, that screen will be as cool and as bright as it can possibly be. So it adapts to your environment in order to save your eyesight. Cons. What else do I see that is a con? Other than it's slippery, it's heavy, it's fairly big coming from the 8 or the SE. It's big. It's expensive. It is really, really, really expensive. And I'm not sure what Apple is thinking. There are voices now that Apple has to wind down manufacturing. They're reducing the units that they projected they would need, because people are really waking up to the fact that they can't afford the iPhones anymore. In China, in India, people are starting to buy cheaper phones now, because there are phones out there that have all the bells and whistles and they cost half the price of an iPhone. Apple will have to adapt to that. Not everybody has the money to buy yet another iPhone, and if they do buy iPhones, they may buy them less often, only every 4 or 5 years instead of every 2 years or every year. So that's definitely a con. You're getting a lot for your money. You're really getting the best of the best, and it's a joy and it's a pleasure to use. But you also have to pay rent and feed your family, and you gotta find a middle way, right? So that is definitely a con, and that's, I think, is the biggest con of this phone, that it is a phone and it costs as much as a computer, and that shouldn't be like that. Anyway, that was my update. My first few weeks of the Apple iPhone XR, and if something goes wrong with it, you will be the first to know. Well, thank you so much for watching this again, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I'll see you again next time. Bye.